Hello everyone. Today I'm sharing a fun and surprisingly easy trick, making a hammer handle with heated silicone. It may sound a bit unusual, but with just a bit of silicone and a few basic steps, you'll end up with a handle that's sturdy, comfortable, and fits your hand perfectly. A good handle doesn't just feel nicer, it makes your hammer safer and easier to control. So, if you got an old hammer or a loose handle lying around, this quick DIY is the perfect way to give it a simple yet effective upgrade. Before we get to the main part, I've decided to give this hammer handle a nice blue color. It's not just to make it stand out from the other tools in the box, but also because a pop of color makes it a bit more fun to use. Here's a quick tip. If you're mixing the color into the silicone, stir it well so the pigment blends evenly. That way, when you mold it, the finish will look smooth and clean, almost like it came straight from the store. Now comes the really fun part, carefully pouring the silicone into the mold. Right now is the absolutely perfect moment because the silicone is evenly heated, not too runny, but not too thick either. To save time and make use of what's already around, I'm going to use a toilet paper roll core as the mold for the hammer head. After drilling a snug hole in the mold, I take a threaded rod to form the hammer handle itself. The rod is straight, sturdy, and easy to coat with silicone, giving the finished handle both strength and balance. Now it's time to pour the silicone. First, make sure the silicone is evenly heated, not too runny so it doesn't spill over, but not too thick either so it flows easily into the mold. When pouring, tilt the mold slightly and let the silicone flow slowly from one side. This keeps the flow steady and reduces air bubbles. If you spot small bubbles rising to the surface, gently tap the mold a few times. The bubbles will pop on their own, leaving a smoother finish. Finally, let the silicone settle on its own. Avoid touching or moving it while it's still liquid to ensure an even, clean result. Do you see how the silicone looks exactly like the slime kids can't get enough of? It's shiny, stretchy, and almost dares you to scoop it up for a quick squeeze. Honestly, I had that thought too. Just a tiny poke to see what it feels like, but then reality kicked in and reminded me that this isn't a toy. This is a hammer handle in the making, and I'd better keep it that way. What's fascinating at this stage is how flexible yet stable the silicone becomes. It's soft enough to float smoothly into every tiny corner of the mold, but thick enough that it doesn't spill everywhere. Watching it slowly settle is like seeing caramel drizzle over a perfectly baked cake. Smooth, steady, and oddly satisfying. And here's the secret: patience. The slower you let it settle, the cleaner and smoother your final handle will look. After pouring the silicone into the mold, I lightly sprinkle a thin layer of baking soda on top. This helps the silicone cure faster and gives the handle a smoother, more solid finish once it's dry. Now it's time to remove the handle from the mold. Honestly, this part can get a bit tricky, so I edited out quite a few clips to keep the video nice and clean. Hope you don't mind. The key is to take your time and peel the mold away slowly to avoid scratching or damaging the freshly set silicone. I still remember the first time I ever worked with silicone nearly 30 years ago. Back then, I was just a young mechanic in a small workshop fixing tools and casting replacement parts for customers. One day, my boss came in carrying a big plastic container labeled RTV silicone. Curious, I asked him, "What's RTV?" He laughed and said, "Room temperature vulcanizing," which means this silicone cures all by itself at room temperature. No need for high heat. That day, I stood there watching him mix the catalyst, pour into a mold, and then just wait. For For the first time, I saw this strange, fascinating material. Liquid like milk at the start, but within hours, it turned into something solid, flexible, and tough. I was hooked right away. From that moment, I wasn't just a tool repair guy anymore. I dove deep into everything about silicone, from its chemical properties to its industrial applications. Silicone, as many know, isn't natural rubber. It's a polymer compound, often made with a mix of silicon, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and sometimes other elements. What's truly amazing is its ability to withstand heat. You can use it in environments up to 200, even 250 degrees Celsius, and it won't deform or lose its elasticity. That's why silicone became a miracle material for industries ranging from heavy machinery to everyday household products. Looking back, I think of silicone as a quiet companion in daily life. It's in the window seals that keep the noise out, the reusable food containers in the kitchen, and even inside our electronics, protecting components from moisture and dust. We interact with it far more often than we realize. Nowadays, every time I pick up my hammer with its silicone handle, I can't help but smile. It's more than just a tool. It's a reminder of the learning, the trial and error, and the satisfaction of creating something with your own two hands. And if there's one lesson silicone has taught me, it's this: a good material only reaches its full potential when you understand it, respect it, and give it the time it needs to grow into what it's meant to be. And just like that, we've got our very own silicone hammer handle. Sturdy, comfortable, and shaped perfectly for your grip. If you're wondering why you should give this trick a try, the answer is simple: because it's easy, affordable, and surprisingly effective. And most importantly, what I love most about projects like this is the sense of pride you get when you're done. From mixing and pouring to waiting and finally peeling the mold off, every step feels personal. Each time you pick up that hammer, it's not just a tool in your hand. It's your work, your craft, and your patience made tangible. So, if you made it this far and you're feeling inspired, don't just sit there, give it a try. I promise you'll be amazed at what you can create, and who knows, after your first silicone handle, you might start seeing endless possibilities for other DIY projects. And hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button to keep me motivated, and subscribe with the notification bell on so you won't miss out on the next round of fun, creative tips. Who knows? Next time we might turn another old, forgotten tool into something better, brighter, and more useful than ever before.